Okay, good to see everybody, 2-0. Coach Mack, God love him, 2-0 for Coach Mack, got the game ball for him. Cam's going to take it over to him. That was our #1 priority. We had to win this game for Coach Mack, period. So just want to say thanks to all the fans that showed up today. And, really pleased that we got into a fourth quarter ball game, which is huge, especially with a newbie playing quarterback. We knew going into this game our defense was going to have to play some good football. Gave up a couple slices there early with the double move and a seam route, a well-developed play by Coach Clausen. Other than that, was really pleased with our defensive effort. 3 turnovers, 1 for a touchdown. Good to see us scoring points on that side of the ball while the other side grows up a little bit at quarterback. I thought Bennett played well. He had 8 tackles, a TFL, INT at a very important time there early in the game, which kind of helped us with the momentum side of things, which was big. And then I was really happy to see Donnie with that interception. There's a young man, came here. We had high hopes for him. He had to have an ACL repair, which was not a good deal for him, and he persevered. He continued to work hard in school, and he's done well with his academics. Just so happy to see that young man playing well for us, Donnie Simmons, and get a touchdown today. So hats off to Donnie. The areas that I'm always looking at is how we went in the rush differential. That's a big thing for me in this team. We were plus 103 in that area, which was good. I thought our penalties were decent, 30 yards with 4. I was really upset at the end. Should have got another touchdown there. Yeah. So we got to be locked in. We're not gonna get away with that when we get into some tighter ball games with some teams down the road. All in all, very good victory, 2-0. Proud of these kids. I was proud of Eric's effort. He wasn't feeling it in that first half yet. We brought him along, and then I started to see some of the things that we recruited, and it was kind of fun to watch right there. So with that, any questions?
Please raise your hand, and we'll bring a microphone to you. We'll start with Matt in the front row.
What specifically did you see from Eric kind of struggling in the first half, and was there anything you or anyone else said to him at halftime to kind of turn that around?
No, yeah, not a whole lot. I think he missed a couple throws. He missed a couple reads with the triple option stuff that we put in. And he was more mad at himself than I was mad at him, to be quite honest with you. I could see it in his eyes, so I just said, just keep being the guy we recruited. What was your mistake? He was dead on. He was on top of it. He sailed one over top of everybody. We were all like, who's he throwing to? Well, he was saying the same thing to himself when he came off. So he had some freshman moments. That's going to happen. Thank God they didn't hurt us in those crucial situations. But at halftime, I liked his demeanor. I liked his focus. I thought our offensive line did some good things in the third quarter to kind of cool things off for him. And then I saw Eric do some good things. The little sidearm sling down the middle to Brisley. That's the guy that we recruited. And then he almost got in with that athletic thing at the end there. If you watch his highlight tape from high school, you saw a lot of that. So I saw the competitive nature that he had. Saw his vision with pressure in his face, which is really hard to coach. He does some things that are hard to coach. So in good time, as we just keep weaning him forward, he'll be a very good quarterback. But we have to play great defense. We have to be able to run that ball and create some big plays to help him in his growth.
Steven?
Hey Scott,
Steven.
Considering all the bumps and injuries and stuff you guys have taken in the last year and a half and in the first half, from a morale perspective, what does that second half do? Those 2 big throws from Dungy. How do you see that kind of re-energize the team, thinking big picture?
For sure. I think more than anything, it's just there's always a sense of confidence that's gained when you get into a fourth quarter game, and your kids find a way to plug through it and win a game. And I felt those things going on the sideline. I liked the confidence. I liked the demeanor of our coaching staff when things weren't perfect, the way we pushed through some difficult situations. I like to see some of those young kids that are thrown in there a little bit early. Eric, isn't the only one. Do some good things. So for the most part, I say anytime you win a fourth quarter game as a player and as a coach, there is a sense of confidence as you move forward. You know, you want to be able to win games in the fourth quarter. It's key. It's key to our success moving forward. And anytime you can put one of those notches on your belt, you feel really good about it as we go into, you know, a game with Central Michigan. Central Michigan's a good football team, played Oklahoma State extremely well. I'm from that conference. I grew up in that conference, that MAC conference. I got the utmost respect for those folks. Those guys know how to play tough, hard-nosed football. So we'll have our hands full. But I think the learning curve, to answer your question, in the fourth quarter is a big deal for our youth, especially at that quarterback position.
Scott, you had that moment with Coach Mack, and you had an opportunity to talk with him. What did you say to him in that moment, and how much does he mean to this program?
Well, he means the world to Syracuse, you know. All I said is I just ran over there and said, hey, Coach, we're going to win this damn game for you. And he goes, I'm sorry if I'm getting in the way. That's what he said. And I said, come on, Coach. You know, just you said it. You know, everybody in this community knows it. There's not a better person. You know, he loves Syracuse. He gave a lot of his life to Syracuse, and 2 of his grandchildren have put the blood and sweat on the field, just like he did. So it's just great to get that victory, and you know, as he would say, God love him, and you know, just happy to get that victory for him.
Nico in the back.
Nico,
how's it going, Coach?
it's going great. Thank you.
Absolutely. You know, similar question to what you had earlier. Obviously, you know, your guys are down in the third. They show heart. They come back. They win going away. I mean, how proud does that make you? What does that say about this team going forward? They were able to grind down and get that win.
Right. It says a lot about this team. The thing that I noticed last year when things weren't going well is I turned on the tape and I understood who we were playing, and I understood you know, the issues that we had last year. But there wasn't a game last year where our kids didn't quit fighting, including the Boston College game, to the point where we didn't put people in the game to get them reps, to be nice. They kept fighting. So I knew we'd continue to have that type of mental attitude. I knew we would. So there was no doubt. From my point of view, we just continued forward. We have a few good players back. We have some talented kids that are going to help us for a long time here. So I think that intestinal fortitude that you're talking about, those guts you're talking about, they're part of our characteristics, and they have been for a long time, and that one thing will never change. Proud of the guys that were the next man up, that did a good job this week preparing you know, for a victory over this well-coached Wake Forest team. That's a damn good defense. They played good defense for a long time over there at Wake Forest. Let's not forget that. And they did a nice job changing things up on the young kid. And we'll get better every week. He's going to watch that film. He's going to learn a lot from it. Those first 2 and 3 games are the biggest learning curves, especially for a quarterback position.
Mark in the back.
Hey, Coach,
Hey,
I
Mark.
don't want to be a downer.
Don't be then.
Okay.
Here's your chance not to ask it if it's a bad question.
You're still perfect in the red zone, but all 3 were field goals today. As you said,
Mark.
you're not going to
2-0, Mark. We're 2-0.
but you're not going to get away with that, as you said. So what's the concern there?
No concern at all. We're going to try to get better, turn them into touchdowns. Right now we're 2-0, so we're going to accentuate the positives. Mark the downer.
Coach,
Are you related to Debbie? I think Debbie Downer. It's okay. Yes.
Coach, so much is going to be made about the 2 big plays that Dungey made to turn the tide of the game, but I wanted to ask you about your defense. Late first half, you keep them out of the end zone there. They settled for a field goal. First drive of the second half, they're moving the ball, and again, they were on the field a lot, but they dug deep, and they forced them to punt. Could you speak to that being a potential turning point of the game, the way the defense was able to kind of stem the tide?
There's no doubt, especially right before halftime. There's nothing that takes the wind out of your sails more to give up a touchdown right before halftime. And those kids dug their teeth in, and you know, they were sucking wind. I called a couple timeouts in a row there, just to try to, you know, make sure they weren't winded, and they showed a formation. We thought they were going to run a little stick nod, and then I think they changed their play in the next one, and our kids, they really nutted up, knocked them back, and were physical. That was a huge stop. And our kids have done that for a long time around here. You know, they've showed up in the red zone. They've showed up in sudden change situations. That's the thing I'm probably most excited about, is we're making big plays on defense, sacks, scoring touchdowns on defense. They're fun to watch. You gave up a couple plays there, but rebounded back. And like you said, we were on the field a lot. The time of possession was not swung the way I was hoping it was going to be. And those kids, they nutted up good. They sucked it up and they went. They had each other's back. We played a lot of kids again on defense, and I was pleased. I was pleased with the effort.
Back row on the right.
How's it going, Coach?
It's going pretty good, thank you.
Similar to last season, you've now started 2-0. How do you keep the positive momentum going into next week?
We just focus on one day at a time and not looking too far ahead. You know, that's the whole key. You know, we made a pact and a promise to each other that we're going to focus on one day at a time and getting better. For Stevie Ishmael, it's going to be looking at his third down production. Right, Stevie? Right? Everybody will remember the play he made. Me and Stevie will go back and we'll talk about quietly the ugly ones he had early on, and we'll get better every day at the things that weren't good enough. So that'll be our focus. You know, turn the page forward, feel good about the victory for just a minute, and then move forward to saying what did we do well enough and how we're going to patch those things up before we go against a good football team coming in here with Central Michigan.
Time for 2 more questions.
2 more.
Steven.
Hey Scott, there was a report yesterday that Irv had surgery on his meniscus and he'll be out for a bit. Is there anything more you can share?
Yeah, Irv will have. He'll be. They're saying probably three to 4 weeks. He had a scope procedure done, cleaned it up. They felt really good about it. So it was actually real good news for me. So they're saying 3 to 4 weeks, and he's in good spirits.
Last question from Mark in the back.
All right, we'll try again, Coach. Eric Dungy, what is it about him that he doesn't turn the ball over for such a young kid?
Well, I think he's coached well. Coach Lesser didn't turn the ball over either when he played much, and I think a lot of that starts with coaching. And he also got lucky on a couple plays where he threw some errant passes, so keeping it real there. I think the biggest thing playing quarterback, first and foremost, can you manage the game and can you have a sense of command in the huddle and not get your team into trouble by poor decisions. And I think that he's learning that process right now. And then, can you make plays? And he can make plays. He can. And the biggest thing there is that he stays consistent with keeping the ball on our side. So, I've been pleased. Got a lot of work to do to get him to where he needs to be. He knows that as well as anyone.
Thank you,
All set?
Coach.
Okay.